WTAE, DiNardo weather.
All right, variable cloudiness, breezy, cold afternoon, snow flurries with a high of 39, down to 26 tonight with more flurries. Morning flurries, partly cloudy and cold, high of 40 tomorrow. 34 Talk Radio, 1250 WTAE.
Speak for yourself. Talk Radio 333 WTAE. Doug Hoerth.
So anyway, when you go to news, you got Walt Goldman, P.J. Maloney, Steve Lowell. Whenever that station went all news, and I think it was the late 70s, might have even been mid-70s, I want to say 77, 78, those guys have been on the air longer than I have. Going back to the FM, commercial FM, Monday through Friday, Jimmy Roach, okay? And then, but that's constantly on FM. Quinn is probably the guy who's been on longer than anybody else doing a continuous radio show. I don't know when Cigna came here, truthfully.
71.
That long ago?
I think it was.
Was it 71?
Huh?
When I remember John Cigna, he used to do color.
He did sports.
He was a color commentator for two-game basketball. And I don't know what station was broadcasting them, but
JAS.
I think he was on there.
John was a jock at one time. John was a jock at WoWo in Fort Wayne. I never heard him, but he used to do Cigna six-packs, he told me. I thought it was very funny.
Yeah, he did the color. Charlie Hinkle was a play-by-play.
Charlie Hinkle was play-by-play.
And Cigna
but
was
in terms of being on the radio,
Ray Goss has been doing the Duquesne games for a long
time.
Charlie Hinkle did them too before Ray
Porky went on the air in what, 48?
48, WHOD.
Okay, Dave in the car phone, hello.
How you doing, Doug?
Yeah.
Hey, what about your own morning team, Brian and Gary? I know they have...
Brian and Gary would probably go back to... They certainly have been on longer than me.
Early 70s.
Early 70s. Of course, they had a couple years when they weren't on. I was thinking more in terms of continuous, but no question about it, they're old.
Okay.
333 WCAE is... Because they did a thing in the paper on ethnic radio a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Some of these shows have been on 40, 50 years.
Yep.
Rick and Baldwin, hello.
Hey, Doug, I was just going to kick in one guy that's been on the air for a while on FM, and that's Herschel. I know he started way back when YDD was Freeform Rock 104.7, then he went to DVE, then he took a hiatus, I think, to New York for a year or two at a jazz station, then he came back to DVE, then he was on The Point, and now he's on that smooth jazz station.
Uh-huh. Well, how far back would that go? We talking late 60s?
At least early 70s.
Early 70s, okay.
YDD, that's when it was Freeform.
Well, I think Roach has him beat.
Yeah, he probably does, but I think Hirsch is just kind of he's a Pittsburgh guy, I think.
All right, we'll add that name to the list, because DVE, this is WT. When you mention call letters, people get confused. This is Talk Radio 1250 WTA. They started that thing, I'm going to guess 68, 69, somewhere in there. By the way, that stands for Dove, like in Dove of Peace, in case you didn't know. That's what it meant in those days. And Jimmy called the show, and I think he was with them, not from the very beginning, but near the very beginning. Anybody else you think?
There was two other guys, Dan Dunlap, and I think Joe Fenn. Now, they're still around. They do other...
Joe Fenn is still around, yeah.
But they were on... They were on a station called, I think, WJOI. That was a forerunner of I don't want to keep mentioning call letters, but 99.7, whatever.
Well,
it was easy listening music, and I think they were jocks on there.
Well, what's interesting, in 16 years, I've been at WWSW, okay, Westinghouse, KQ, and here. Actually, it was W, Westinghouse, KQ, Vactor, Westinghouse, and here. All right, and I've been here, believe it or not, it'll be 10 years. Memorial Day of 1997, assuming I make it that far. Where was I going with this? If you were to look at what was on the radio my first night in town, and what's on the radio now, my God.
Look at the changes.
The changes in call letters.
Look at the changes.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You mentioned joy. There was a joy. There was a point. There was a beautiful music stations that they no longer have.
Yep.
And the morning guys were Bogut and O'Brien and Gary and Jimmy and Steve, and that was about it. All right. Well, Bogut's no longer on the air. Jimmy and Steve are not on the air together any longer. There was Nat Humphreys was on. That was WWSW. It was just a whole, the makeup was just unbelievable.
The turnover is incredible.
There was still a lot of music on AM radio.
The turnover is incredible in that business.
This
there's
business,
nobody,
my business.
Very few that can sit down and remember everybody that was on the air in the last 20 years.
But even trying to remember call letters.
Yeah, we have one guy used to be on his show. We have one guy used to be on his show that can remember all them things.
Yeah, there was there was a, not Wish, what's the other one? This is WT. What was the other one that, Joy? There was another one.
This one used to be WRYT.
Oh, I know. It was Classy. Wasn't there a Classy?
Yeah.
Classy 106 or something like that?
This used
Am I right? Was there Classy?
Yeah. This used to be WRYT, and the theme was Limelight before they come on here. And they played easy listening. And because I remember Ron Reiniger doing the news on those. Ron Reiniger was a newscaster.
He was a newscaster on that.
On that station.
Yeah.
They played Limelight music all day. And then they went over, I think they changed over here in 1970. I think they became WTAE.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you one thing. When I came here in November of 1980, it was not my intention to still be here in November of 1996. I figured 3-4 years, we move on, and
we were a
lot of things happened.
And
Whenever a job offer was made, and I've made some very good ones down through the years, I was very happy. I was very happy where I was, and I said, no, thank you. I got in this business to have fun, and I'm very happy where I am. Blah blah blah. And then when I was ready to move and I needed a gig, it's like I had cancer. Nobody wanted to get near me. Talk Radio 1250 WTAE.
Speak for yourself. Talk Radio 333 WTAE. Doug Hoerth.
I never got around to birthdays. Earl Carroll Speedo, the Cadillacs, is 60. I would have thought he was older than that.
Yeah.
But
he has to be older than
he's 60 years old. Well, figure 1955 was 40 years ago, right? 41 years ago. Makes sense. Jay Black, Jay and the Americans, is 48. Jay Black is 58. Mm-hmm. Lulu is 48. 42 is Adam Ant. Stephanie Powers, 54. Ray Walston, 79. My girlfriend, Alfred Woodard. Oh, I think she's hot. 43. Secret Television, the Johnny Carson Tonight Show, 19th anniversary. Family Channel is showing that tomorrow from 10 to 1. What I just did was about a month old. All right.
How long have you been keeping that inside here?
Top 20 records, and of course we got hockey tonight. Right, who cares? We'll discuss the plight of the Penguins next hour. Top 20, this day 1960, James, number 1. You talk too much.
Joe Jones.
Save the last dance for me.
The Drifters.
Stay, oh, won't you stay?
Maurice Williams and the
Let's
Zodiacs.
let's go.
Hank Ballard.
1,000 stars.
Kathy Young and the Innocents.
Blue Angel. Da-da-dee.
Roy Orbison.
Roy Orbison, right. God, I can't read my own writing. Come on, everybody, take a trip with me. Ba-da-da-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Well, down the Mississippi, down to New Orleans.
Who was it? I should know. Come back to that.
Gary U.S. Bonds.
Hucklebuck.
Chubby Checker.
Not Ed Norton.
Gary U.S. Bonds was the other one.
Right, exactly. New Orleans. Chain Gang.
Sam Cooke.
He don't love you, and he never will like I love. He will break your heart.
He will break your... Jerry Butler.
Twist.
Chubby Checker.
So sad to watch good love go bad.
So sad. Everly Brothers.
Lonely Teardrops.
Jackie Wilson.
Hello, Josephine. How do you do? A million to one.
Jimmy Charles.
You're 16. You're beautiful in your mind.
Was that Eddie Cochran?
Come on. He's also dead. Another dead guy.
Also Johnny Burnett.
Johnny Burnett. Tonight's the night.
Tonight. The Shirelles.
There are diamonds.
The Paradons.
Walk, don't run.
The Ventures.
Going for 20 for 20 here. Once in a while.
Lenny Coco and the Chimes.
Yeah, he always has to show he knows the name of the lead singer.
Yeah.
He and Jay Mitchell know all that stuff. Anyway,
got the books. Yeah.
Anyway, what else is going on that we should be talking about?
You had talked about yesterday. You had an interesting, of course, that was I was partial to it. You were talking about the baseball pitchers, the Newcomb and Hank.
Who was the first black pitcher to be in the World Series?
Joe Black. No, he was the first to win.
No, he was first to win. First one in the World Series.
First black.
Wasn't Dan Bankhead. He wasn't in the 47 series.
No, I'm going to say Satchel Paige.
Satchel Paige, 1948. Right.
Now the first.
Well, I got to go. There's something I wanted to pick up on that from yesterday too. Back in 5, Doug Hoerth, infamous Saturday show. Stay close.
It's WTAE's Countdown to Kickoff. Brought to you by True Value Hardware, the official hardware store of the NFL. The Steelers in St. Louis, Sunday at noon on Talk Radio 1250 WTAE. Speak for yourself. Talk Radio 1250 WTAE, Pittsburgh.
Good morning. It's partly sunny and 36 degrees. I'm Alan Bowl with WTAE Radio News at 11 o'clock. Here's what's happening. The FAA orders rudder tests for all 737s. A Ross Township man convicted of murder, and Sinatra hospitalized. And this DiNardo weather for the weekend coming up. Showbiz legend Frank Sinatra has been admitted to a Los Angeles hospital after suffering severe pain from a pinched nerve. Now, doctors say it's nothing really serious. Frank is expected to be released in 1 or 2 days. Sinatra is now 80 years old. He arrived at the hospital in a private car, not an ambulance. I'm Alan Bowl, WTAE Radio News at 11:05.
WTAE, DiNardo weather.
For Pittsburgh and vicinity, the Joe DiNardo forecast, a variably cloudy, breezy, and cold day, along with a couple of afternoon snow flurries. The high today only 39. Variable cloudiness and cold tonight, a few snow flurries overnight, the low 26. Some flurries to start today on Sunday, otherwise a partly cloudy and cold day with a high near 40. The outlook for Monday, partly cloudy, not as cold, with a high around 50. For the WTAE Weather Center, their science consultants, this is Dennis Sims.
The Pens on Talk Radio 1250, WTAE.
Lemieux on left wing, back of the line, Klima, far side, Daniel shoots and they score! The big weekend of hockey continues for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Hello, everyone. This is Matt McConnell. Be sure to join Peter Taglianetti and me for all the action tonight as the Penguins return home to take on the Ottawa Senators. We'll have Penguins warm-up beginning at 7:20.
The Pens on Talk Radio 1250, WTAE. Speak for yourself. Talk Radio 333, WTAE. Doug Hoerth.
That's me. You like the show, tell your friends. You hate it, don't tell a soul. Don't want bad news to get around. 3 to 6 weekday afternoons. Hottest show on the radio, saying greetings and salutations. Ooh, Papa doing the how do you do? Thank you, Jocko Henderson. And it is the hottest show in there. I mean, let's be honest about it, okay? You tune in the afternoon. You got Fat Freddy eating on the air for an hour and a half, and then I'm Dave James. And you got me. I mean, it's not even a contest. Anyway,
pretty.
I mean, the man.
All of that and humble too.
The man chooses. I mean, Hansberger chooses cut on the air, for crying out loud. You don't need that. It's very weird. There he is now. Thank you, Fred. Anyway,
Schmuck.
One more piece in the Is Ellen a Lesbian puzzle. I know you're all excited about this. ABC is considering rearranging their Wednesday night lineup, and they're thinking of moving Ellen back into 9:30, which would make it safer for her to come out without the children being exposed to a lesbian on television.
I mean, in the last couple of weeks, they've been, in all seriousness...
But she looks like a guy.
I know that, but they're talking about her show and a number of others who, if they were top 10 or even top 15 shows, boy, wouldn't have a problem doing this. But they're like dropped down so far in the ratings. They're like 40s, 50s in the ratings. So they're not winning their time slots either.
Well, this is being done as a programming device. That's the entire reason why you do this, all right? To shake them up, to get everybody to watch an episode. And what they'll do if she comes out on the air, she's not going to come out. Ellen DeGeneres will not come out because she hasn't got the guts, I don't think. But the character will come out, and then they'll never refer to it again. They'll just continue to boogie down the road. And I mean, the woman is dressing, let's be honest about it, okay? She's dressing like a guy. She looks like an anchorman. She does. She looks like an anchorman.
A sailor, not an anchorman.
No, she's walking around, and spitting out tobacco. It's getting a little out of hand. But anyway, speaking of lesbians, we'll discuss the Melissa Etheridge interview with Barbara Walters. Very exciting. Ugly woman, good jugs. Talk Radio 1250 WTAE.
The Steelers in St. Louis, Sunday at noon on Talk Radio 1250 WTAE.
Never mind.